Good morning from Chimpone, Thailand. I have been here in Thailand for almost 2 weeks now. I have not picked up my camera, and I figured it was long overdue that I make some sort of video. Today it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to break down what it costs to backpack the Philippines for 4 months, and I'm very particular about how I spend my money, and I'm also very particular about tracking my expenses. So not only can I break down the total cost that I spent, but I can break it down by category, just exactly what I spent and what I spent it on. So that's what this video is going to be. If you're thinking about traveling the Philippines and you're curious about what the cost might be, let's break down those numbers and maybe this will help you out. Just to give a little bit more context, I've been traveling Southeast Asia for about 6.5 months right now, just doing the budget backpacker thing, just traveling with my trusty Alpha 35-liter pack right there, as well as my little Osprey day pack right there for my laptop. But pretty much that's everything I have and everything I've been traveling with. Okay, hopefully lighting's okay, hopefully audio's okay. I do have a fan going pretty strong there because this room does not have air conditioning, so I gotta keep the fan going, sorry. And there is like construction out on the street there, so sorry for any noise, audio, interferences. But yeah, I'm gonna do this in kind of two separate sections because the first 2 months I just recorded on my notes app here, so it's really messy and not organized. So for that, I'm just gonna give you kind of the overview of it. And then for the second 2 months, I'm going to give you a more detailed look, breaking down what those expenses were on, what the average out for accommodation, restaurants, all of that is. So the first 2 months, it wasn't quite the full 2 months, it was 57 days, and I spent a grand total of $1,475. That comes out to an average of $25.88 per day, which is pretty dang good if you ask me. 25 bucks a day, or basically $26 a day. And during that time I started in Manila, I went down to Coron, I went back to Manila, I went up to the north to the tattoo village to visit Apho Wang Od, and I got the the signature 3 dots right there. Went back to Manila, ferry to Cebu, checked out Cebu for a bit, then made my way to Bohol, then from Bohol to Siargao to Surigao, and down to Davao, which is where my first 2 months ended. That's where I flew out of. So I covered quite a bit of ground in the Philippines, went to quite a few different islands, and had a fantastic time those first 2 months. And that's what the expenses came out to. For the second 2 months, I can give a little bit better detail because I use this app now, this Travel Spend app. It's a free app. It's pretty good for traveling, for breaking down stuff into categories. So let's take a look here. So for the second 2 months, I spent 59 days, so basically a full 2 months. And I spent a grand total of $1,351.81, which comes out to a daily average of $22.91. So a little bit cheaper than my first 2 months, $3 a day average lower. And that's for a variety of reasons. I wasn't like being tighter on the budget intentionally, but I moved less the second time. For the second trip, I spent pretty much the whole time on Luzon Island, except for the last few days I went down to Iloilo City because that's where my flight was. So that's one of the big things. I didn't take as many ferries, so I definitely spent less on transportation. When you're budget traveling, the slower you move, the less you spend, the more you kind of just stay in single locations. You just spend less because you're not spending on accommodation as regularly, and just being on the go, you just seem to rack up more expenses. And when you're familiar with an area, you kind of know where the cheap restaurants are, the cheap street food, and you can save money when you settle down. Let's break it down, like what that looks like, the categories. My main expense is accommodation, which is grand total 450, which comes out to a daily average of $7.75. To give some context on that, I stay in hostels, I stay in dorms, which is just shared, accommodation. This is pretty uncommon for me. I don't get hotels, private rooms regularly, but like this is about $10 a night, so you can definitely fit it in there occasionally and still stick to a pretty good budget. All right, let's get into the second biggest expenditure here, which is going to be restaurants, food, eating out. That comes out to $351.41, which is a daily average of about $5.95, or just about $6. For some context on that, I eat out for every meal. I don't cook at all when I'm traveling, at least not here in Southeast Asia, because food is so affordable. I haven't felt that I needed to. I mostly eat, little local places, street food. I'm not going to fancy restaurants, obviously, spending $6 a day on food. I'm not going to 5-star restaurants, but I love eating local food, local street food. And again, I know that's not for everybody, but it is for me. So that's, you know, how you can do that on a pretty good budget, because street food in the Philippines is quite affordable. So yeah, that comes out to about $6 a day. Our next category is going to be transportation. That one came out to $172.02, which is a daily average of about $2.91, or just rounded up to $3. This is definitely the one expenditure that I could cut out the most, but hey, I enjoy it, so we're gonna keep doing it, which is coffee. I spent $133 on coffee, which comes out to a daily average of $2.25. I get a coffee pretty much every day. Like I said, I know that would be the biggest area that I could just cut out of my expenses. I don't need that every day. That's not a necessity, but it's kind of my one like splurge when I'm traveling, because I do things on such a budget, and I really enjoy coffee. I really enjoy trying different coffees, different, you know, coffees in different countries, all that. So most days I grab a coffee. I also just love to go sit in a cafe, coffee shop, especially here in Southeast Asia, because it's so stupid hot all the time. They usually have fantastic air conditioning and fantastic Wi-Fi. I don't travel with a SIM card, so Wi-Fi is very important for me. Yeah, let's just break down the last couple categories here. Groceries comes out to $68.58, which, you know, I use groceries loosely. Like, I'm not necessarily buying ingredients because I'm not cooking. That's just like snacks, fruit, when I need to buy water, that kind of thing. And then all the other expenses, it just groups together in the others category of $169 total. And then the subcategories within the others, $46 of that was on activities. You know, I don't spend much money on activities. A lot of people, that might be probably their biggest expense when they're traveling: boat tours, kayaking tours, water skiing, or jet skiing, or zip lining, or whatever kind of activities you do. I just don't do that stuff often. You know, the main things I look for when I travel for people. I like to meet, connect with people from all over the world, places, beautiful nature, landscapes, and hiking, getting out in nature, all that. And food. Those are kind of my three things: people, places, food. And thankfully for me, those don't really cost much money. The people aspect is free, obviously. You just meet people while you're traveling, meet people at the hostels. The places aspect, sure, you spend some money to get there, maybe some transportation costs, the travel expenses, but usually that stuff is free. Maybe there's a small entrance fee or whatever, but in general, I'm not spending much money to enjoy nature. And then the food piece, you gotta eat, you know, we all gotta eat. So that thankfully is a necessity as well as a hobby. So yeah, that just, you know, makes my activity expenses pretty low. And then fees, $38. That was for my extension on arrival. I get 30 days on arrival, and then I immediately extended for a second month, which that cost $38. Shopping, $30. Yeah, I needed to buy like some new t-shirts, shorts, stuff like that, so I spent 30 bucks on some clothes. $26 on general. I think that was probably like shampoo, lotion, that kind of stuff. And then about $6 on laundry. I don't spend much on laundry because I hand wash stuff quite a bit. Whenever I'm at somewhere that has like a bucket and I've got some laundry detergent, I'll just hand wash, let it air dry. And then, you know, every once in a while, of course, I do need to do a proper load of laundry, but it only costs about maybe a couple dollars, $2 to $3. So $6, I probably only did actual laundry maybe 3 times. And the rest of the time I just hand washed it myself. And then there's like another 20 bucks of just randomness, and that's pretty much it. That breaks it down. So the grand total for 4 months of traveling the Philippines, that comes out to $2,825. Which just, again, it's just under 4 months. It's like, you know, 3 months and 25 days or something. So just 4 months for simplicity's sake. Of course, that's just reflective of the way I travel. It's going to vary a bit for everybody. Everybody's travel style is different. Everybody's level of comfort is different. Everybody's interests are different. So some are going to spend more, some are going to spend less. But that's just, it gives you an idea of it can be done on a budget. I mean, especially for those of us from the US like I am. While $2,800 is a lot of money, it's really not that much considering that's 4 months of full living expenses, food, accommodation, transportation, clothes, activities, just everything. That about breaks it down. Hopefully this was helpful or interesting or something for somebody out there. If it was, let me know. I could maybe make some more videos like this as I travel. I could break down my expenses from Malaysia. Here, once I'm done with my time here in Thailand, maybe break these down. Anyways, that's about gonna do it here. Here's a quick little look outside. Here's my view here in Chumpon, Thailand. There's some construction going on out there, so there's quite a bit of noise out there. Hopefully it wasn't too bad on the camera here, but yeah, my time here in Thailand so far has been fantastic. Like I mentioned, I've been here almost 2 weeks. Food has been absolutely amazing. I need to jump in the shower, get my stuff finished packing up here, and I think I have a train to catch in about an hour. I've just been taking these local trains up Thailand, making my way towards who knows what. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, but yeah, hopefully this is interesting or informative or helpful or something. If it is, let me know. Maybe I'll do some more of this. Yeah. But anyways, that's it. I will see y'all next time.